Hello crafters, I'm Bernadette, and today we're going to make this quad easel card. Really a lot of fun and very simple to make. I got the inspiration, I learned how to do this originally from watching YouTube, Christina1716 Card Making Magic. She did one of these. She's from the UK and she made one in a 7 inches dimension. So today I'm going to show you how to make this a little bit smaller. I made this one at 5.5 so that it could fit into a 6-inch envelope that you make with your Martha Stewart scoreboard. Here's another one that I made. There's plenty of room in here so you could add lots of dimension. And it pulls out and then you set it up like so. But the reason why I'm changing the dimensions is because, well, it is going to be a square card, which means you are going to have to use additional postage. And so, but you still, it's just so easy to make with the Martha Stewart scoreboard at these particular inches. So I made the overall dimensions of the card are 5.5. Now let me show you, before we get started, let me show you the supplies we're going to need. You're going to need some cardstock. I just used one big 12 by 12 piece of cardstock that I cut into various dimensions. I cut this at 5.5 by 5.5. And then you're going to need some pattern paper. I used 2 different kinds of pattern paper. As you can see, I'm going with a fall theme here. And these are going to be cut up into different dimensions. And when you begin to cut, you're going to want to do this piece by 5.5 by 5.5. And then I just did everything a 1/4 inch smaller. My layering piece will be at 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then you're going to want to cut pieces to make your easels that are going to go across your paper like this. And these are going to both be at 5 by 2.5. And we're going to cut 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've already got one started as an example. Then you're going to want to cut some actual easels. And these are going to be 2.5 by 2.5. And then some pattern paper to go over the bottom of these, and that is going to be 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. I'm going to have all the measurements on the website or after the video, so you'll have everything you need here. So let's go ahead and put this together. First of all, I'm going to adhere. Oh, and as you can see, I clearly because this is what I love to do, I have to distress and use ink up all the edges of all my paper. So I'm going to take my 5.5 base. And then my 5 by 4 1/4 layer and put them together. Set that aside. Then I'm going to take the 4 pieces of paper, there'll be a 4th here, that you've cut. They are 5 by 2.5. Now, I love my Martha Stewart scoreboard for a lot of things, like making the envelope, but I still also have my Score Pal, and I'll show you why. There are sometimes when I like using my Score Pal. First, you're going to take your piece of cardstock and score it in half. So you're going to score it at 2.5. Boom. Then you're going to want to take one corner. When you're looking at this, you're going to want to take one corner, and this time we're going to work from the right-hand corner and take it down to the left. In order to do that, you could just fold it, but I like making a really nice score line. So I'll put the corner from corner to corner and line it up on my Score Pal and go ahead and score. I've already pre-done that to make it easy for myself. But as you can see, the Score Pal, because I have an original Score Pal, has some of the lines that are wider than others. If you're using your Martha Stewart scoreboard, every one is 1/8 of an inch. Sometimes this can be tricky to do. And this is just because this is the way I use my scoreboard, and this is the way I like to do it. So I'm going to take one of my pieces of paper and fold it, and I'm going to take the right edge down to the left corner. Now you're going to actually do that twice. Okay, right edge down to the left corner. Now on the other piece of paper that you're going to do, the other two pieces I should say, you're going to score it in half, and then this time you're going to score this along the other edge, and you're going to take your left corner down to the bottom right corner. So as you'll see, you'll have a total of 4 pieces of cardstock. I've only got 2 here, but the folds will be going away from each other. This is important so that all of the corners are facing out. Okay, so let me do that again. This. Score it at 2.5. And then I'll go ahead and make this one along this score line. And score this down. Oop. So the left is going to the right corner. Okay, so we have our pieces of paper. Then you're going to want to take some of the cardstock that you cut that is 2.5 by 2.5, and you want to adhere it along the bottom edge of your easel. This is going to create the easel for your work. So to do that, I want to get my work surface back. Another reason why I love the Score Pal is because they have this wonderful work surface that came along with it. And I'm going to take one piece of cardstock and line it up. So it looks like that. Then I'm going to take the same thing on the other easel that folds the other way and just adhere the bottom corners together. And then I'm going to put a piece of pattern paper along the bottom. I'm going to do that for all 4 of these easels. Again, this pattern paper is cut at 2.25 by 2.25. Now you can make this as elaborate as you want. You can be putting pattern paper up above if you'd like. I'm doing this quite simply like this. Here I have 2 of them. Both of these are headed the same direction. And then I've got 2 others that I'm going to have folded back. Okay, now I have my squares, each one of my easels, arranged on my base layer. And you can tell you're doing this correctly because the folds will make a square in the center on all 4 of those. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I've put my pattern paper on and my easels. And each one is going to be facing towards the outside. I made this card a number of times for the first time, and I didn't quite get this part down, and so it was quite frustrating, but I finally figured it out. You have to make those diagonal score lines opposite ways from each other. Now, with easel cards, this is a typical thing to want to do. Take something like a brad or other piece of bling that has something that sticks up. Find the point on your easel card that you would like to put it, to use it as a stop. I've just got a poker here, and then you can just use your tool to poke through and create and put in a brad. In fact, I'll do that on one of these, but I'm not going to do it on the others because I found that actually when I made this card with these small dimensions, that the easels actually stood up just fine on their own, and they really didn't need that extra little piece of bling for the stop there. But I'll do that for demonstration purposes here. Okay, so I've made myself a nice little stop for my card with an extra brad. And then you want to go ahead and on the back side put some pop dots so that you can mount them all up. Okay, so now that I have each one of my squares popped up on pop dots, which is really great if you decide that you are going to go ahead and add a brad of some sort. You can put them all up, and it's time to add your embellishment to your easel. Gone ahead and done that. Again, I'm doing the fall theme. Made some cuts from the straight from the nest cartridge, and voila! You have a really sweet easel card. Like I said, I found that these are small enough that I don't necessarily have to have some sort of a stop there like I do with larger easel cards if you've ever made one. But this is your sweet easel card, just like that. For you to display on a desktop, you can put a sentiment down here, anything else that you'd like. And then again, fold everything down. Or you can even, yeah, actually, why not show off your handiwork? You can fold it like this and put it in the 6x6 envelope that you can create with your Martha Stewart scoreboard, and it mails nicely. Voila!